Hello everyone, Demise here. Welcome to the second devlog for Shadow of Scintilla. It's been quite some time since the last video, during which I have refactored some systems in the game and added a lot of new features. Firstly, I have further refined the melee combat system by adding input buffering, and now each attack move has its own combo window and affects the player's movement speed during an attack, such as slowing down during the startup of a heavy attack and briefly increasing speed during the actual attack, which strengthens the impact of heavy attacks. These settings can also adjust the feel of different weapons and moves, making the entire melee system more punishing. In addition, I have added weapon penetration system, taking the training dummy as an example. When the dummy is equipped with normal clothes, attacks can go through the entire model, but if the dummy wears armor, attacks will get stuck. This provides more diverse feedback when attacking different objects, and allows for different penetration levels to be configured for different weapons and even different attack moves, making the melee system more interesting. Apart from the continuous punishing of the melee system, another focus is the workflow of developing enemy character. After a series of trial and error, the current workflow for creating enemies in the game is as follows. Firstly, create the basic model of the enemy and the various equipment accessories in Blender and rig them to the skeleton. Then import the model into Substance Painter to create the texture. After that, import the model and the texture into Unreal. There are several different methods for handling modular characters in Unreal Engine, and I have chosen the Mesh Merge method because it reduces draw costs and lowers rendering costs. Taking the basic enemy, which is almost completed, as an example. In addition to the basic model, there are 4 equipment accessories that can be generated at the same time, and I have created 2 sets of textures for this enemy, so there are 32 possible variations of this enemy model in the game, together with different weapons and some variations in model scale. The diversity of individual enemies is quite rich. Additionally, following this workflow, it's easy to add more equipment accessories or different textures. Furthermore, I have optimized the materials by merging the material slots of each character as much as possible, because one material slot requires one draw code. For example, this is a character before optimization with a total of 5 material slots. Through testing, directly generating 400 characters resulted in 4,300 draw codes and 45 frames. After optimization, each character only has 2 material slots, and the same test resulted in 1,150 draw codes and 60 frames. The optimization method is to create a second set of UVs for the relevant model in Blender, and this set of UVs is used for indexing. I used the 8-grid method, which can merge 8 material slots into one in Unreal Engine by indexing. If you want to know the specifics of this method, I will put the link to the related tutorial video in the description. The next new system that was added is the Gore system, which includes blood particle effects and blood decals. The more important feature is the dismemberment system, which has a chance to trigger depending on the body part that the player hits when killing an enemy. Currently, the system supports triggering dismemberment on the head, hands, and feet. Even after an enemy dies and transitions into ragdoll, players can still trigger dismemberment. With this system in place, the brutal and bloody feel of the close combat has been greatly enhanced. Another system that underwent a complete refactoring is the AI's locomotion system. This system was developed based on the corresponding system in the Unreal Engine 5's Nara project. The system solves the foot sliding problems that occurs when character move through distance matching and stride warping. It also solves the turning problem with orientation warping and implements the functionality of turning in place, focusing the view on the player character, and a 2-legged IK system. One more thing is that when the enemy attacks the player, there will be a configurable tracking phase of the player's movement. Without this, the enemy's attacks would be too easy to avoid, as the player could simply keep moving and will not get hit. With this tracking phase added, the player needs to dodge at the moment of the enemy's attack, making the game more challenging. Additionally, the difficulty level of the game can be adjusted by changing the strength of the tracking. In addition, the enemy's hit reaction system has been further improved. This was inspired by a GDC talk from the Doom development team. The hit reaction has several levels. The first level does not interrupt the enemy's animation, because hit reaction is related to the point of impact. If animations were made separately for each body part, the amount of animation needed would increase drastically. Instead, physics-based animation is used, which is layered on the enemy's current animation. The advantage of this implementation is that it does not require the creation of separate animations for each body part and hit direction, but the disadvantage is that the animations are not very detailed. The second and the third level of the hit reactions are normal hit and lockdown animations, which are implemented by configuring animations for different directions. The last level is a death animation, which is selected based on whether the dismemberment effect is triggered and the direction of the hit. In addition, I started to add sound effects to the game. After some researching, I used a middleware called Fmod, which is free for indie developers and only requires a fee of $2,000 when your revenue exceeds $200,000. The main advantage of using this middleware is that its interface is very similar to digital audio workstation and is more intuitive to use. That's all for this devlog. If you are interested in this game, don't forget to add it to your wish list. The link is down below. Finally, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, and I'll see you again in the next devlog.